I would like to call this meeting to order. Thank you for joining us during our weekly virtual MLS breakfast meeting. My name is Shun Zhang of VMAX 1000. A few housekeeping tips. All participants will be muted, and should you have any questions or comments, please remember to enter them into the chat box. Please remember to join us weekly as we will have our virtual MLS breakfast meeting every Thursday at 9 a.m. As always, this meeting is being recorded and will be available online on our YouTube channel, West San Gabriel Valley Realtors. Please remember to follow WSGVR social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also watch all our pre-recorded video on YouTube. WSGVR introduced a new text message service. For updates, text WSGVR to the number 72727. A little about me. My name is Shun Zhang, and I'm the September MLS Program Chair. Today's agenda consists of our affiliate spotlight, Cosmo Sanchez, new aiming funding, our 2020 West WSGVR President message by Mindy Ye, followed by our speaker, Kristian Hoysradt, National Association of Realtors. Just a reminder that to be eligible for today's raffle, you must be a WSGVR member and your DRE name must be displayed to win on the chat box. So no telephone number will be accepted. If you have a different login name other than your DRE number, please type in your DRE number. Today, affiliate spotlight will be Cosmo Sanchez, new aiming funding, brought to you by Affiliate Committee. Take it away, Cosmo.
Good morning, everyone. So a little bit about myself and how I got into lending. Born and raised here in Los Angeles, California. I attended Pasadena City College, where later I transferred to Cal State Dominguez Hills. Got my BA major in not finance, but actually English literature. I know, from all things, right? So after college, like many graduates, not sure what I wanted to do. I did a bunch of odd jobs to pay the bills. One day someone reaches out to me via LinkedIn and they asked me if I'll be interested in going in for an interview as account executive. Not sure what it was, but it had a nice ring to it, right? Long story short, I went into the interview, I got the job, got into lending, and I have not looked back. I love real estate. I love working with you all. So a little bit about my company, what we do. We are a local lender, and we have loan programs for just about every scenario you may come across, whether it's conventional loans, first-time home buyer down payment assistance, conventional, or jumbo and non-QM. We do it all. As many of you guys know, rates are low, and the market's hot right now. People are buying, they're selling, they're refinancing. I could help you with both. In regards to COVID-19, COVID-19 has changed our industry, right? But the good news is that it has not stopped us from doing our business. If you're out in the field right now, if you're closing deals, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Some of the deals I'm closing are in 22 days, some are 30 days. That's all I have for you guys this morning. I'll put my information in the chat below. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Cosmo. Now we will now have our top affiliate introduction for today. Okay, we have Nancy Chan, lawyer's title.
Thank you, everybody. Nancy Chan, lawyer's title, 39 years in the business. Cosmo, great job. I was an English major also. We got into a different business. Thank you very much. I miss everybody. Thank you, the directors. I appreciate it. Have a good day.
Thank you, Nancy. Mark Wu from Allstate Insurance.
Good morning, everybody. Mark Wu with Allstate Insurance for your property and casualty insurance needs.
Thank you, Mark. Sandy Franco from First American Home Warranty.
Good morning, everyone. Sandy Franco, First American Home Warranty. I don't have a bachelor's in English, but I speak English, Cosmo, so I'll take that one. Great job. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, Sandy. Teresa Lamb from Corinthian Title Company. Next one, Annie Fan from Chicago Title.
Good morning, this is Annie, Chicago Title. I'm here for you when you need any title help. Please reach out. Be safe and have an amazing Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you, Annie. Sage Gomez from My NHD.
I don't think she's here.
Okay.
Teresa back.
Okay, yes, hi, Teresa Lam with Corinthian Title Company. Thank you. I was a theater arts major, so I read a lot of Shakespeare drama and literature, history of literature, so I have similar interest in a way with Cosmo. And thank you very much, and hope everybody is well today.
Thank you,
And be
Teresa.
safe.
Thank you. Next one, Joe Haggerty from Orange Coast Title.
Good morning, everyone. This is Joe Haggerty with Orange Coast Title, and you know how to contact me. I'm here for you guys every day on the weekends. Hope you guys are having a great week and try to stay safe from this smoky air. All right, thanks.
Thank you, Joe. Yonita Wu from Home Warranty of America.
Good morning, everyone. Unita Wu, Home Warranty of America, your 13-month home warranty. If you guys do need any help for home warranty, let me know. I'm here to help you guys always. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, Yunita. Next one, Brendan Savarsky from First American NHD.
Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is having a great day and staying safe from these fires. Again, this is Brandon Sabransky with First American Natural Hazard Disclosures.
Thank you, Brendan. Tom Sang from TJ Management LLC.
Morning, everyone. Tom Chung from TJ Management, where we help your client take care of your property management and refer them back to you when your client decides to sell or buy. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Next one, John Wax from Snack NHD.
Good morning, everyone. I miss you all, seeing you in person. John Wax with Snap NHD for all your NHD tax and environmental needs. I've been in the business 26 years, and I'm a great consultant regarding anything in the reports or any questions regarding natural hazard disclosures. I wish you a wonderful day. Stay safe. Wear your masks. Great way to protect from this terrible air quality. Have a great day. Let's have a great meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Okay, thank you for all for introducing yourself. Please remember to support our affiliates with your transactions. Now we have open pitching. Today we don't have, we don't have any open pitching today. We don't have any listings.
No, we don't have anybody today.
Okay, please don't forget to register for your listing so you can pitch and market your listing here, okay? Now we would like to have our 2020 WSGVR President message by Mindy Ye. Mindy, floor is yours.
Thank you, Sean. Good morning, WSGVR family and friends. I'm Mindy Ye, your 2020 president. Thank you for attending our weekly virtual MLS breakfast meeting. And we're also always grateful for your continued support as a valuable member of West San Gabriel Valley Realtors. Please don't hesitate to reach out to our leadership team and staff. We're here for you during this challenging time. Did you know Monday, September 21st is International Day of Peace? We all can use a day to support peace and nonviolence throughout the world. It's observed on the opening day of the annual regular session of the United Nations. So I would like to share this with you. Peace begins with a smile by Mother Teresa. To forgive is the highest, most beautiful form of love. In return, you will receive untold peace and happiness. By Dr. Robert Mueller. Dr. Mueller has devoted 40 years of his life behind scenes at the United Nations, focusing on his energies on world peace. We're excited to announce our partnership with Age Media and Promotion, a mobile marketing company based in South Dakota, to offer you SMS, text message marketing and communication service. For more information about SMS and how it can work for your business, text AGE to 72727. Age Media will follow up with you to discuss how it can be a fit for your communications and marketing needs. And you can also check out our website. There's additional further information and details. A news conference held yesterday September 16 with Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell. Here are some highlights that was addressed. Fed announced it will leave interest rates unchanged until inflation picks up and will maintain an average inflation around 2%. The rates have been relatively low for the past 7 years. Some Main Street lenders' concerns about underwriting expectations wants banks to take risks in Main Street loans, have taken forceful actions to ensure recovery, will continue to maintain asset purchase at current pace. Economy activities has picked up and from depressed levels. Expect unemployment to continue to decline. Powell recommends social distancing, wearing face masks will assist economy activities recovery. Some CAR update, California Association of Realtors updates. Reimagine this year its real estate virtual conference and expo will be on October 12th to 14th. It's a Monday to Wednesday. For more info about this event, visit reimagineexpo.org. Proposition 19 is a tax assessment transfer. Broad support is growing for California Association of Realtors sponsored initiative known as Prop 19. Our coalition, firefighters, senior schools, cities, businesses, community leaders supports Prop 19. You are an important messenger to share the key elements of how Proposition 19 will benefit your clients, friends, family, and communities. Main provision of Prop 19 supports life savings, fire, and emergency response, limits property tax increase on primary residence for seniors, people with severe disabilities, families, wildfire, and natural disasters victims, generates hundreds of millions of dollars in annual funding for fire protection, local governments, and school districts, supports California family farms. You can get involved or get more information and resources at Realtor Party at car.org. With that, I would like to thank our special guest today, Mr. Kristian Hoysradt. Please also join us next Thursday, September 24, 9 a.m. Our affiliate lenders will address lending in the COVID era. Additional information will be available by end of this weekend. Thank you, Sean. Take it away.
Thank you, Mindy. At this time, I would like to welcome our speaker, Kristian Hoysradt. His topic will be NAR Federal Update. Kristian Hoysradt is a political representative for the National Association of Realtors, based in Washington, D.C., and served as NAR's liaison to state and local Realtors Association across 9 states and territories, including New England, California, Hawaii, and Guam. In his role, Kristian leads advocacy efforts in support of NAR federal legislative and political programs. Prior to joining NAR, Kristian served as the government affairs manager for a local realtor association on Boston North Shore. He also spent a decade working for local, state, and federal political campaigns, nonprofits, and local government across New England and in Washington, D.C. Let's welcome our speaker, Kristian Hoysradt. Kristian, floor is yours.
Sean, thank you so much. Thank you everybody for having me today. Normally at this time of the year, I would be jetting around the state of California, talking to local associations about what's happening in DC in person and talking about our electoral priorities coming up for the general election in November. But instead I am sitting here in my kitchen talking to associations across California on Zoom, which is in a way a benefit because I've honestly been able to meet and interact with more members probably than I would have been able to otherwise in any normal year. So again, thank you all for having me at your meeting this morning. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I think the other presenter needs to stop sharing their screen in order for me to do so. All right. As Sean mentioned, I am one of NAR's 6 national political representatives. So our jobs as political representatives for the National Association of Realtors is to serve as the primary liaison from NAR to state and locals. So essentially, my job is to provide updates on what exactly NAR is doing in DC, to advocate for realtors and your businesses, as well as home ownership and private property rights. I also help implement all of NAR's political programs with regard to elections and RPACs. So with the election coming up in November, I'm quite busy at this moment preparing for a lot of NAR and RPACs activities in key congressional districts across California. Today I'm here to provide all of you a quick federal update on exactly where things stand here in Washington. So just before we begin, I just kind of wanted to give folks kind of a quick primer on what is NAR and what are we doing here in DC. So first and foremost, NAR is comprised of 1.4 million realtors across the country. We're 1.4 million voices strong. And so when we speak on Capitol Hill, people listen. We are the largest trade association in the country, focusing on advocacy for home ownership and private property rights. And our political action committee, RPAC, was the largest contributor to candidates in 2018, which again gives us leverage on Capitol Hill, because when people work for us in terms of advancing our federal legislative priorities, they know that we're going to thank them on the electoral side of things by supporting them during their campaigns. So that's certainly a key piece to our efforts here in DC, and to any and all RPAC investors in your association. Thank you for providing us the resources necessary to do our jobs and necessary to continue advocating for our industry. So as you all might imagine, here in Washington, our key kind of priority over the last several months has been the federal response to the coronavirus pandemic. So around mid-March, NAR's building in DC was ordered shut by the DC government. All of our 140 employees in the office transitioned to a remote work setting. But let me tell you, the work did not stop. It actually only enhanced as Congress was trying to figure out how to respond to the pandemic and save the economy, as essentially we were providing a forced shutdown of the economy. It was our job as your federal advocacy team to make sure that realtors and small businesses were included in any response coming out of Congress. And so what were we able to achieve? So since March, we have secured unprecedented relief for realtors and small businesses across the country. First and foremost, NAR was successful in having real estate deemed an essential service by the federal government. It wasn't the easiest task. When the first guidance was released by the Department of Homeland Security, which provides the sectors that are deemed essential, real estate was not included initially. And with that, we decided that we needed to take another approach, and we started immediately working with our state and local associations to start trying to get real estate deemed essential state by state, so that the federal government would recognize that real estate is in fact an essential service. From our perspective, as governors and the federal government were ordering people to shelter in place and shelter at home, our argument was that people need a place to shelter and a home to shelter in during the pandemic. And thus, that was our primary argument for making sure that you all as realtors could continue doing your jobs and helping your clients who were perhaps in the middle of a home sale or purchasing a house, or in the middle of a lease ending on their apartment. And so state by state, we were able to get governors to deem real estate essential. When we got to about 20 or 22, we were able to go back to the federal government, back to the Department of Homeland Security, show them that state by state governors were recognizing the importance of real estate as an industry, and we were able to get real estate deemed essential. I think around the second week of the federal shutdown. It took a little longer in California, but we were eventually successful so that you all could continue doing your businesses. So that was certainly the first priority of NAR as the pandemic began back in the spring. Secondly, if you recall, one of Congress's first actions to try and keep the economy going was the issuance of stimulus checks. Initially, when the proposal was first being discussed on Capitol Hill, the only people who were going to receive stimulus checks were W-2 employees. When we got wind of this, our federal advocacy team said, no, no, no. We need 1099 filers, independent contractors, our realtors to be eligible for these checks as well. And so we made that priority quite clear to congressional leadership, and eventually realtors were included among those who did receive stimulus checks. If you recall, those were the $1,200 to $2,400 checks that were sent out back around April and May. So that was another success story to try and just help keep our realtor members afloat. Then in late March, Congress passed the $2.2 trillion CARES Act, the largest piece of legislation ever passed by the United States Congress. The CARES Act provided a number of provisions to try and keep the economy afloat, and NAR worked personally with members of Congress to make sure independent contractors and realtors were eligible for a number of the provisions including. First and foremost, probably one of the most notable provisions included were the Small Business Association, Small Business Administration provisions, including the Paycheck Protection Program, or PPP, forgivable loans, and the Economic Injury Disaster Loan advances. I can tell you that in addition to California, Hawaii, and Guam, I represent the 6 New England states in terms of my territory for NAR. Senator Susan Collins, who's the Republican senator for Maine, actually wrote the Paycheck Protection Program that made small businesses eligible for these loans. And essentially, she reached out to us in advance of the CARES Act being introduced to say, hey, we want to make sure independent contractors are included and eligible for these loans. What's the language we need to use to make sure that happens? And so we actually spent a weekend in late March working with our policy and legal teams to write the language that Senator Collins then took and placed into the CARES Act to make sure that realtors and independent contractors and self-employed individuals, those who work in the gig economy, were all eligible for these PPP loans. And so that provision was included and successfully passed as part of the CARES Act. So again, that was another way by which NAR impacted the federal response. Then came the topic of unemployment assistance. As you all probably know, realtors, self-employed individuals, independent contractors, have never been eligible for unemployment benefits. When we heard that unemployment assistance was going to be included as part of the federal response, and that they were going to create this new PUA program, otherwise known as the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program, NAR made sure that realtors for the first time would be eligible for unemployment assistance. And so we worked with congressional leaders to make that happen, and we worked with our state associations to make sure each state, which was responsible for implementing the unemployment assistance, that we worked with each state to make sure that realtors were eligible and taken care of. It wasn't necessarily the smoothest rollout, but at the end of the day, all of our realtor members across the country were eligible to apply and receive unemployment assistance because of our advocacy on Capitol Hill. Additionally, within the CARES Act, it provided for some housing changes, including forbearance for homeowners and an eviction foreclosure moratorium, which I'll get to further in a second, as well as loan processing modifications. Our policy team was in touch with the FHFA throughout the early weeks of the pandemic to make sure that loan processing could continue, and were able to successfully lobby FHFA, Fannie and Freddie to make sure that mortgages could still be issued despite the shutdowns across the country. Also included in the CARES Act was a student loan forbearance option that our Realtor members were able to take advantage of, early retirement withdrawals that were eligible for Realtors. And then we also were able to work with our friends at the IRS and the Treasury Department to make sure that those who are quarterly filers in terms of their taxes, that their deadlines were extended through July rather than April. Initially, it looked like the federal government was just going to extend the deadline for those who file their taxes annually. We were able to push the Treasury Department to extend those deadlines through July. And we were also successful in extending some deadlines for the 1031 exchanges, which was very critical for our friends in the commercial real estate industry. So that was a mouthful, but that's what we've been up to here on Capitol Hill for the last several months. And we were working around the clock, and part of my job has also been as your political representative to kind of communicate these benefits and this information to make sure that people know what they can take advantage of. So that's kind of where we've been. Where are we now? So as you know, the CARES Act, it did have some limitations and some deadlines. So the following provisions have now lapsed. The PPP forgivable loan program is closed. The advances provided by the economic injury disaster loans, they are no longer available. However, you could still apply for an EID loan. However, just know it would not be forgivable for small businesses. The enhanced unemployment benefits. So as part of the pandemic unemployment assistance program, the CARES Act provided $600 in enhanced weekly benefits for those who were unemployed. That enhanced benefit lapsed at the end of July. However, President Trump, among a number of executive orders, did allow for an additional $400 in enhanced unemployment benefits, $300 to be paid by the federal government, $100 to be paid by the states. That states could then apply and take advantage of. I know California did in fact take advantage. They only took the federal funds provided. So they've been adding an additional $300 of enhanced benefits to those receiving unemployment benefits through, I believe, that mid-August, and starting September 7th, those benefits were going to be paid out through the through your local unemployment administration. And then, the federal eviction moratorium had expired at the end of July, but on August 8th, President Trump and the CDC issued an executive order enacting an extension of the federal eviction moratorium through the end of the year. And that's sort of, for us right now, one of our main priorities in trying to figure out a way by which we can get rental assistance to housing providers. So this federal eviction moratorium applies from September 4th through the end of the year. It applies to nearly all rental units and all renters. You should also know, as I'm sure many of you are aware though, that Governor Newsom signed AB 3088, the Tenant Relief Act, on August 31st, which extended California's moratorium through March 1st, 2021. So this federal eviction moratorium does not supersede the state moratorium. It's simply in addition to, so it really more so affected states where their state eviction moratoriums had lapsed. But even still, in addition to the federal eviction moratorium, we are certainly concerned about the impact the Tenant Relief Act and your own state's moratorium extended through March 1st is going to have on our housing providers and landlords through next spring. And why do realtors care? We care because 25% of realtors own and manage rental properties. 46% of all rental units are owned by mom and pops, and another 37% are owned by LLCs, not big corporations. And so we, in our communication to Capitol Hill, we are continuing to emphasize that this eviction moratorium isn't we're not talking about big corporations, big housing providers or landlords. We're talking about mom and pops who rely on, tenants' monthly rent to pay their own mortgages. And so from our perspective, that pretty much calls for a federal response in providing rental assistance directly to landlords and housing providers. And really, just imagine the impact on the housing market this could potentially have here as we go into January 2021, when the eviction moratorium ends. All of that missed rent, according to the CDC's order, all of the missed rent payments for the last year then become due on January 1st, 2021. And so we are certainly concerned about the crisis that may potentially ensue. And so what's NAR's response to this? As I mentioned, we want Congress to pass emergency rental assistance directly to housing providers, not to the tenants, because if you pay it to the tenants, there's no guarantee they're going to actually pay their rent. We want the assistance going to be paid directly to housing providers. So you know that we had the PPP program, the Paycheck Protection Program. We are looking for something along the lines of a landlord protection program, where rental assistance is provided to landlords and housing providers to help them pay their mortgages during the course of these eviction moratoriums, and that federal assistance would hopefully then be forgiven. So NAR has sent letters to all members up on Capitol Hill. We have joined with our real estate industry partners to send a formal letter to congressional leadership. We've been taking out ads calling for emergency rental assistance in all DC publications that all staff for members of Congress read every morning here in Washington. We're considering potential legal action here. And then in terms of our advocacy efforts, all of you may be aware that NAR has a program called our Federal Political Coordinators, or FPCs. Essentially, this program allows for NAR's president to appoint Realtor constituent liaisons who live in the districts of every member of Congress to serve as the constituent liaison from NAR to that member of Congress as a Realtor. And so each person who's been appointed, it basically communicates directly to their member of Congress, not only as a constituent, but as a Realtor, what NAR's priorities are. And so very rarely do we do this, but in response to the eviction moratorium, we put out a call to all 535 federal political coordinators across the country to contact their member of Congress, explain to them how this eviction moratorium is could potentially hurt Realtors, mom and pop landlords, and demand that they provide rental assistance. And so that's sort of where we are in terms of the midst of our response. And we are starting to see signs of progress. Speaker Nancy Pelosi had a meeting with her caucus, her Democratic caucus, earlier this week. And in her phone call with the caucus, laying out her priorities, including that of staying in session until Congress reaches a compromise on the coronavirus relief bill, she mentioned that they needed to include emergency rental assistance as part of the eviction moratorium. So it is very clear that our advocacy and efforts are breaking through the noise, and we are starting to see signs that hopefully some kind of rental assistance will be provided in some form as we head closer into the election. So, with that's where we kind of come to an intersection between the eviction moratorium and continued COVID-19 relief. As you probably heard over the summer, the House and the Senate were attempting to negotiate some kind of compromise on the next round of COVID relief. As you know, the House is controlled by the Democrats, led by Speaker Nancy Pelosi there on the top, and the Senate is controlled by the Republicans, led by Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell there on the bottom. So in May, the House introduced a $3 trillion COVID relief act called the HEROES Act. And then in July, the Senate responded with a slimmed down $1 trillion COVID relief package. There were some significant differences between the two of them. For example, the Democrats' bill wanted to continue the $600 in enhanced unemployment benefits through the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program, whereas the Republicans only wanted to continue that enhanced benefit at $200. The House bill at the time back in May did not provide additional funding for Paycheck Protection Program loans simply because the program hadn't run out of funds, whereas by July, the program was about to lapse, and so the Senate called for an extension of the PPP program to allow for businesses who could demonstrate a 50% loss in revenue to go ahead and take a second round PPP loan to help keep them afloat. I'll also note that the Senate did not address the economic injury disaster loan advances that had been forgivable under the CARES Act. The House provided for an eviction moratorium extension through the end of the year. The Senate version didn't, but then Donald Trump went ahead and issued his executive order through the CDC to extend the moratorium anyway. The House version of the COVID relief bill provided $100 billion for rental assistance, didn't specify how it would be provided in terms of our preference would be that going directly to the housing providers, but there was at least money allocated to provide some kind of rental assistance, which we hope if that bill were to pass, we would then be able to kind of come up with programs so that we could make sure the assistance was going directly to housing providers. The Senate version of the bill did not include any rental assistance. Both bills, though, did provide for a second round of stimulus checks, $1,200 and $2,400 checks. The Senate bill provided for business liability protection to prevent lawsuits based off of any situations involving COVID-19, which NAR likes in terms of protections for our realtor members. And then a big difference between the two bills was that the House bill provided for billions of dollars in state and local aid, which is a big sticking point for Democrats, whereas the Senate version did not. So the House, the Senate, along with the White House, were negotiating over these provisions for weeks and weeks heading into August, where traditionally in August, Congress recesses so everyone can go back to their districts and meet with their constituents. And by the time the Congress came ready to recess, no compromise had been met. And since early August, we have not seen any further action on discussions regarding how to go ahead and move forward in terms of a relief bill. So where does that leave us today? Well, earlier this week, there is a group of members of Congress who belong to what's called the Problem Solvers Caucus. This is a caucus or a group of members of Congress who are more moderate members for the most part, who are willing to work kind of across the aisle and essentially solve problems. They saw this as a problem that needed to be solved, and so they actually released their own compromise COVID-19 relief bill earlier this week. So you take the Democrats' $3 trillion bill, you take the Republicans' $1 million bill, the Problem Solvers Caucus has introduced a $1.5 billion bill. This would include not $600 as the Democrats wanted or $200 as the Republicans wanted, but $450 of enhanced unemployment benefits for 8 weeks. So basically, helping us get through potentially the end of the year. And so that would, again, help those who are unemployed with some enhanced benefits. In terms of loans, they took the provisions that were included in the Senate bill for the small business loans and provided for $95 billion in funding, both for second round PPP and EIDL advanced loans. The bill also includes a second round of stimulus checks. And as I mentioned, our advocacy efforts are breaking through. They did include $25 billion in potential rental assistance. Now, from NAR's perspective, $25 billion falls far short of what is needed, but we're happy to see at least that within this, what we see as potentially only compromise bill that's on the table, at least some rental assistance is being included. And then kind of the game changer here is that this compromise bill provides $500 billion in state and local aid, which was pretty much a requirement from the Democrats' perspective. And so with that, the Problem Solvers Caucus introduced this bill earlier this week. And surprisingly, the White House said that they may be amenable to it. So that is some good news in terms of looking at potential further relief coming towards our realtor members and your families heading into the fall before the election. So we'll see what happens there. So that's kind of our next priority. And then after we get through the COVID relief negotiations, probably after, first is COVID relief, what we need to deal with. And then we have another deadline coming up, which is September 30th, and that's government funding. The government runs out of funding on September 30th because Congress hasn't passed a budget. So in order to keep the government funded, we have to pass what's called a continuing resolution, which allows the government to keep functioning at the levels of funding previously approved. And so as part of that continuing resolution to keep the government open, which we refer to as a must-pass bill, we have received assurances from congressional leadership that the National Flood Insurance Program that is set to expire on September 30th will be included in the continuing resolution as a short-term extension. So it will probably run through the expiration of government funding, which will then move to December. So we'll at least get a short-term extension of NFIP in that bill. And then there's also the Federal Highway Bill, otherwise known as the FAST Act. This is all the federal funding that's provided to maintain our highways across the country. Certainly an important priority for NAR in terms of infrastructure. We are expecting that the FAST Act extension will also be included in the continuing resolution. It may even be extended beyond that, but we'll see what happens. And then finally, looking past the election in November, there are also a number of tax extenders that we're going to be advocating for extensions, including some energy efficiency tax credits, and there are a few others that may pop up here before the end of the year. So that's kind of where things stand here in Washington and what we're working on. Just for your awareness, NAR has created a coronavirus hub at nar.realtor/coronavirus. This website provides guidance for realtors and your businesses, everything from housing providers to realtors to how to run open houses. We have tons of guidance brochures that I encourage all of you to check out. We have FAQs, frequently asked question sheets on all things related to our COVID response. We have legislative summaries of all the bills that are floating around that I've talked about today. We have infographics, checklists. We also provided instructional videos on how to apply for PPP loans and how to apply for pandemic unemployment assistance. So, I mean, we've really kind of covered the gamut on that resource site. And then on the right-hand side, you see my contact information. That's my email and my cell phone number. If any of you have any questions whatsoever about anything to do with NAR's federal advocacy, anything to do with campaigns and elections coming up this November, or really anything in terms of navigating the hierarchy of NAR or the resources available to realtor members, please don't hesitate to reach out. I consider myself your concierge in terms of getting your best bang for your buck in terms of your member dues. So again, please take down my email and my cell phone, and don't ever hesitate to reach out. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen, and I'm happy to take any questions about my presentation, federal policy, random questions you may have about the elections coming up. I love talking politics. So I'll go ahead and turn it back over to Shun.
Thank you, Kristian. We do have several questions. Let's start from number one. From Cecilia Ruda, she has a question. Can you explain unemployed in terms of, in our field, what unemployed stands for?
I'm sorry, Shun, can you repeat it?
Unemployed.
Okay.
I guess she wants an explanation in terms of what's considered an unemployed in our industry.
What's considered what's considered in terms of whether you are unemployed, I guess.
Right, because we don't get a paycheck month to month, so
right.
So what's really considered unemployed?
Sure. So I will say it varies state to state because every state kind of enacts their own kind of unemployment assistance programs. But as I understand it, from in speaking with my colleagues at the California Association of Realtors, Any realtor who is not drawing income is eligible to apply for the pandemic unemployment assistance. Now, if you are to bring in some kind of income, if you're able to draw a commission at any point, you do have to report that when you go and file for unemployment. So that will obviously offset your benefit in terms of what you'll receive, because they will take that sort of part-time income into account in determining how much assistance you're eligible for through the pandemic unemployment assistance program. So please know that even if you expect a commission check coming forward, but have still obviously been put somewhat out of work because of the COVID-19 restrictions, you are absolutely still eligible to apply for PUA.
Okay, thank you. The next question, actually Teresa Lam, she has two questions. When you mentioned about the landlord protection, would that be charged as an interest? And is this considered a loan or a stimulus check will be going out to the landlord?
In terms of the rental assistance?
Correct. The landlord protection
Sure.
program that you
Yeah.
mentioned earlier.
So to be clear, the rental assistance that I've been referring to and that NAR is advocating for, it doesn't exist yet. It exists in the form of bills that have been introduced, but it hasn't been enacted. We're trying our best to get Congress to enact emergency rental assistance for landlords. And like the Paycheck Protection Program, which obviously benefited small businesses across the country, including realtors, we would hope that any rental assistance provided to housing providers and landlords would be tax-free, that it wouldn't count against them in terms of income or anything like that, which is exactly how, what played out in terms of the Paycheck Protection Program. Now, in terms of how that assistance may interact with someone receiving unemployment, that's where it gets a little bit dicey in terms of, how, would that assistance offset any type of PUA benefit from the state? Unfortunately, I don't have a good answer on that, because it honestly would be something that would need to be determined by your state unemployment agency.
Okay, great. Next question from Minda Ye. Will you please explain the NAR Diversity and Inclusion Grant?
Yeah, so now I certainly am not the best person to speak about it, simply because I kind of handle more the politics side of things. This is more to do with our community outreach program, but the Diversity Inclusion Grant is free money from NAR that an association has to apply for in terms of helping offset costs for any type of diversity and inclusion programs. I believe the person who heads that up is one of two people. It's either Brian Green or Fred Underwood. Those are the folks that your association would be working with. And I would be more than happy to make a personal introduction for anyone interested, or the staff at your association at West San Gabriel Valley, to just maybe learn a little more about the grant program. I got to say, NAR, I came from a local association on the North Shore of Boston. NAR has a ton of resources and grants available. And, my job is to really try to make people aware that they exist, and to then connect you all with the right people to make sure that you can take advantage of these grants. So if anyone is interested in applying for one of those grants, even if it's not diversity and inclusion, if it's even beyond that, just let me know. And, I'm happy to kind of walk you through, provide links to the grant application so you can look at them in advance. And then, like I said, provide a personal introduction so that you can get talking to the right people at NAR.
Great. We have one more question. It's from Frankie Ho. What can income property owner do when tenant did not pay rent? Do they have to wait for the court make decisions after owner files a lawsuit against the tenant?
Yeah, so under California law at the moment, right, no tenants are required to be paying rent at the moment through March 1st. And so when the eviction moratorium ends, that's when legal proceedings will come into play. And I mean, it could honestly be a huge mess. And as you know, it takes months to evict a tenant. And so, you know, from NAR's perspective, as I mentioned as part of my presentation, I mean, these eviction moratoriums are a problem and could cause a significant housing crisis. And that's why, at least in the interim, we are trying to make sure that Congress provides rental assistance for the landlords just to cover the missed payments now. But then when you get to the end of these eviction moratorium, I mean, we're going to need some kind of federal response and federal assistance here. And, you know, part of the complication with all this, right, is that the federal moratorium ends December 31st, and then the California moratorium ends March 1st. In between those two deadlines is the general election, where come January, we could be dealing with a transfer of administrations. And so one, that's a huge problem in terms of communicating our priorities to a potential new incoming administration. But even if the Trump administration is to get reelected, you know, they're going to be quite busy dealing with the election heading into November. And so then what? We have the month of December to get their attention and really try to prepare for this potential crisis coming down the road. So, you know, I just want folks to know that, you know, from NAR's perspective, California Association of Realtors perspective, this is on the top of our minds. We actually just had a phone call with the White House. I think it was 2 days ago. White House assembled some of their senior staff to hop on the phone with NAR's policymakers, as well as our executive leadership, including Vince Malta, our 2020 president from San Francisco, where they outlined exactly, you know, how terrible this eviction moratorium on the federal level is, not to mention the state of California's eviction moratorium, and how necessary it is that the federal government play a role in getting assistance and preparing assistance for when these moratoriums end. So, you know, that was a kind of a lengthy answer to simply say, we're concerned about it, we're pushing for assistance, and at the end of these moratoriums, that's when the legal process will come into play, and it could be a significant mess across the country.
Okay, well, thank you very much for all the informations. So now Q&A section is concluded. On behalf of West and Gilbert Valley Realtors, we would like to thank our guest speaker. We are very honored to have Mr. Kristian Hoysradt to join our meeting today and giving us all this valuable and important information on the NAR federal updates. Now it's time for us to move to the attendance drawing. Please type your name and email in the chat box. If your name is called and your name is different from your login name, please type in your DRE name so we can locate you and send you the gift card. Okay, Albert? First winner, Ian Shaw.
He's
Okay, I
here.
see him type here. Congratulations.
Okay, good. Good.
Lydia Walsh. This is our second winner.
She is here. Let's hear from her.
Oh, she just typed
I'm
in.
here.
Congratulations, Sylvia.
Thank you.
And our third winner of the day, Mary Cow. Mary, are you here? Are we able to locate her?
No, Mary.
No. Okay. Next one. Oh,
You, are you here?
I'm here, but I can, please spin again. I can donate that back to the board. India home. India, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Congratulations.
Thank
Okay,
you
we
so
have all
much.
the 3 winners today. That's good. Our board will be sending you an email with the gift card, and they will contact you for the information. Okay. Now we will have the classes, education classes. A list of upcoming classes will be displayed on the screen. The first one, we'll continue with the Member Appreciation Week. We have 2 events, which Thomas Wong, the chair of the special event, he will be explaining these 2 events. Thomas?
Okay, thank you, Sean. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good morning, everyone. First of all, on behalf of the membership and a special event committee, we would like to thank the members who participated in the virtual kickboxing this last weekend. We have so much fun and good workout, and we had a good turnout. And to continue with the Member Appreciation Week, we are very delighted to invite all our members to join us in the next 3 events. So we'll be hosting the first scavenger hunt next Friday, September 25th at 7 p.m., followed by the Google Map scavenger at 8 p.m. And on Saturday, September 26th at 7 p.m., we'll be hosting the virtual bingo. So how exciting. So, but remember to RSVP by Thursday, September 24th by 5 p.m. So you can receive your virtual bingo card via email. And in order to play, you need to do that. Same with the scavenger hunt. Please RSVP as well. Lucky winners get $30 gift certificate. And also be on the lookout. We'll be e-blasting via email to remind everyone. So check your email or the wsgvar.com website to RSVP. So I look forward to seeing you all at the event, and let's have some fun. Thank you, and back to you, Sean.
Thank you, Thomas. Okay, the next series is from the Global Business Committee. The next one will be Emerging Real Estate Market in Peru, South America. It's next Wednesday at 11 o'clock Pacific time. Please register. Okay, next. We will have the 5-part virtual series. One is the ultimate guide to list and sell commercial investment property. It is Thursday, September 17, which is today at 1 p.m. to 3 o'clock. And it's free. Please sign up and join us. The next one is License Renewer. It is 45 hours continuing education. Friday, tomorrow, September 18, 9:30 to 12:30. The cost is $85. The next one is Understanding Home Inspection, September 21st, 10:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. And it's free. Also, the estate planning webinar is also Thursday on September 22nd. It is 11 to 12 p.m. and it's also free as well. Okay. That's all the education classes we have. Thank you everyone for joining our meeting today. We hope to see you again next week when we welcome our affiliate lender panels. Cosmo Sanchez, New Aiming Funding, Richard Zalata, ACG Funding, and Mario Mendelnila from Rate One Financial. The topic will be lending in the COVID era. So please join us. This is a very important topic as well. Please support our affiliate when with your transaction, and please don't forget to register our next MLS meeting. This meeting is now adjourned. Please be safe and be well with all the fires going on. Okay, thank you everyone.